Hello, trading is closed on August 3rd, 2020. We'll just go over our rules and disclaimer, then we'll discuss our calls. Just remember, if we gap sharply in the undesired direction, it kills the call before they open. That's what happened today. And just be polite and don't make calls unless you give the reason. We had lower targets. We said unless we gapped up smartly, they were favored to print, at least the higher one. But we gapped up smartly, so before we opened, the call was killed. We had the potential for a tank if we gapped under this low. We didn't call that one way or the other, and we didn't do it, obviously. Here's what we said. Lower target favored to print unless we gap up smartly. We gapped and promptly move outside the day's range. And we said that what the bulls needed to do is to continue the rally at the open, ideally by gapping up smartly. Tomorrow has the early high. During the day, MEJT gave a buy signal, but it also optionally said there was a lower target that would print, and that's already happened. So it isn't telling us anything about tomorrow. This is a pattern which almost always closes near the high. When you gap up, hit all these new highs, close under all of them. It's a negative pattern unless you gap in either direction and take this high out promptly. And after today's action, that wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not going to predict it one way or the other. Well, we had this nice break under our channel, but as of now, it doesn't look as if that's going to work. And that's a bit too high for me. I'm going to call this count invalidated, but still, if that's A, there should be a blue B in here someplace. I think it'll probably be higher than today's high. It doesn't have to be a lot higher. Doesn't mean it won't be a lot higher, but that was a candidate, and not anymore. Well, tomorrow's pattern has the early high. Doesn't mean you won't gap down. Today's pattern nearly always closes near the high. When it doesn't, it's negative for the next day. At least you'll trade negatively. It doesn't mean you have to close negatively. If you gap and promptly take out today's high, then validates the pattern. Wouldn't surprise me at all, but I don't have anything that lets me predict it one way or the other. Our candidate for the end of wave blue B was invalidated. One thing which hasn't changed is that sentiment indicators show an excessive level of excessive level of bullishness. It's always justified a cautious approach, but it's not a precise timing indicator. Everybody was bullish, bullish, bullish. You'll remember back at the high of the year. They were so for a long time. And then when it collapsed, it all happened all at once. I'm not calling this a higher anymore. We had a candidate and we took that out. If we gapped under it, I suppose that could still work, but I'm not calling it that way. But when you have all these positive sentiment indicators, bull, 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 it just pays to take a cautious approach, even if we go a bit higher first. Tomorrow's pattern has the early high, and that's today's call.